And let's just dive into it here, Nick. I think that most Broncos fans are starting to buy into this hype for Bo Nix. Maybe they didn't watch all the preseason, but they've seen the highlights. They've been reading about him. And now things are about to go up a notch here, heading to Seattle, making his NFL debut. What can we expect, Nick?
Well, I mean, listen, based on what we saw from the preseason, Bo was really exciting. And I understand the level of excitement and hype surrounding Bo Nix because this team hasn't really been in the playoffs in about 8 or 9 years. And obviously, we saw what happened between Sean Payton and Russell Wilson last year. That experiment didn't work. But now fans are saying we have a quarterback of our own. It's a quarterback that Sean Payton can really get behind. So there was a level of excitement. And listen, my whole thing in the preseason was just like, yeah, it is the preseason. So let's not belittle what Bo Nix did, but let's not overreach at the same time because the regular season is different than the preseason. The only thing you wanted to see in the preseason, and we got a chance to see that, was that what we saw of Bo when he was a member of the Oregon Ducks, we got a chance to see a glimpse of that in the preseason, and he performed well. But like you said, I mean, the stakes are high now. This is where everything counts. And Bo Nix and Sean Payton, they are forever linked together. And it's a legacy for Sean Payton, which he's trying to move away from and show that he can win ball games without a guy by the name of Drew Brees. But Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, they're going into a hornet's nest. I can tell you, going on the road in Seattle, where that place is going to be rocking.
That is the loudest stadium in the NFL, in my opinion, Nick. I've been to all these stadiums. Seattle is like no other place. Just the way the stadium is designed, it's going to make life very tough for Bo. But fortunately, like you mentioned, he's played a lot of big time college football. I think he played 61 games in college, Nick. That's a lot of football. And it seems to me that he's checked every box so far in the preseason, in training camp. He's done everything that he was supposed to do, earned that starting job, handled the competition at quarterback really well, and then he's earned this trust from his teammates, it looks like, being named a captain.
Yeah, that's really something to point out because usually a young guy that comes in, he doesn't have this level of impact right away. And I can tell you, being a defensive guy, you want to believe in your quarterback. If you go back to Super Bowl 50 and understanding, quarterback in a relationship to teammates, Peyton Manning wasn't what he used to be, but it was the belief that the sheriff under center could change so much. And that's what the great thing about football is the ultimate team sport, and everyone has to buy in. And with the work ethic of Bo Nix, he was able to convince a lot of guys, hey, listen, believe in me. I'm not saying that the Broncos are going to go to the Super Bowl in their first season. It would be outstanding if they did. But just knowing that the players have a belief in Bo, that is similar to what it was like when I played with Jake Plummer and what those guys had with Peyton Manning. So it's great to have that. But at this point, now, once again, this is where the rubber meets the road. I mean, expectations have to meet predictions. You have to go out there and actually play. And I have to tell you, man, it was tough to play in Seattle as a veteran player. But as a rookie, even tougher. And I can tell you, when I was coaching with the San Francisco 49ers and I was in that box, we were behind a glass. And it was still loud. So I can only imagine what it's going to be on the field. So that offense, but more importantly, that offensive line is going to be tested on Sunday.
I remember 2014 Broncos went there. Peyton Manning, as veteran as it gets, it was tough for him to be able to communicate there along the line, especially, they raised that 12 flag before the game. It's nuts in there. Those guys are going crazy. It's the first week of the season. Nick, it kind of reminds me a little bit of a couple of years ago with so much hype around Russell Wilson. They head to Seattle for that first game, and things obviously went downhill from there very quickly. It's a week-to-week league in the NFL. I mean, the hype for Bo Nix and the excitement right now is really awesome, really fun to see. I hope that he does well, obviously, but it's a week-to-week league, and I feel like he's going to have some ups and downs, and I hope that Broncos fans really give him the opportunity to learn and grow and go through this thing, because it's been a while since the Broncos have had that quarterback. If fans are, I feel like they're just chopping at the bit, trying to get this guy, a franchise guy. And if things start to like, hey, maybe he has a bad game, maybe he has a couple of weeks in a row, it's not going well. I hope they give this guy a break.
Well, listen, I'm not going to have my fingers crossed on that because we both know how this works. Both the fan base and the people in the media, like they can't wait for the other shoe to drop, right? Because here's the thing I've learned being in the world of sports as a broadcaster, even as a player, and even as a coach. Even if being a human being in society, the thing that people want, they want to lift you up as high as they can get you because it's about the fall. They want to talk about the fall. They want to have something to criticize. So people want to criticize Bo Nix, but he is going to have moments where he's not going to be his best. If you look at some of the players around the league, that's happened to some of the top players. Tom Brady has struggled. Drew Brees has struggled. John Elway has struggled. The great Peyton Manning himself have struggled. But the whole thing is, don't look at this whole thing that's going on with the Broncos and Bo Nix. Don't look at it as maybe a sprint. This thing is a marathon. And you want to make sure that when Bo finds himself in tough situations, that mentally he can push through that and come out the backside. To me, that's what this year is about. Trying to develop Bo Nix, put pieces around him, get a lot of these young guys experience. So in 2026 and 2025, that's where the Broncos make their mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the big thing that you're nervous about with a rookie quarterback is that he develops some bad habits. You know, you don't want him starting to see ghosts out there because he's, you know, maybe he's had a couple of interceptions, maybe he's been hit a couple times. You don't want him to start getting quick feet, happy feet in the pocket. Maybe he's missing guys who are wide open. You just don't want those habits to develop. But I do think that as a rookie quarterback, there's no better way to learn if you're mentally strong to go out there and just play. You know, like Peyton Manning always says that he's set that rookie interception record. Hey, he got out there and played and was much better in his second season. Hopefully that's what Bo is able to do. You know, he seems like he's got his head screwed on right. You know, like he's not let this hype get to him, and he's not, you know, sort of making the moment too big, it seems like.
Well, once again, when you are playing for the Denver Broncos and you're playing quarterback of all positions, the hype is going to be there. We saw that with Russell when he was traded to the Broncos. And that was a huge part of the destruction of the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson. The level of hype was so large that when something small happened, it just opened this floodgate of criticism. So the same is going to be said with Bo. And if I were talking to Bo, I would just tell him, man, relax. You're going to make mistakes. Be able to push through those mistakes because when you look at it, Phil, I don't look at games in life as wins and losses. I look at it as wins and learning. What did you learn? Are you learning from quarter to quarter? But here's the biggest thing. See, everyone is making this about Bo. This is not about Bo. This is not golf. We're talking about the entire team. So when Bo starts to struggle, are the other players on the offensive side of the ball, are they going to help him? Are the guys on the defensive side of the ball, are they going to help him? Are the coaches and the scheming, are they going to help him? Because yes, the league makes everything about the quarterback position, which I don't subscribe to that. This is a team game, so the team is going to have to help uplift Bo. And thinking about Seattle, the run game. The run game wasn't what it was when Russell went back to Seattle. And they're going to need that run game to keep things on track and provide balance for Bo. If that doesn't happen, it's going to be a long day for Bo.
Yeah, when I think about like a rookie quarterback starting, I think about three things, Nick, that can help him. One is the coach. And I think the Broncos got that. I mean, Sean Payton is going to put Bo Nix in the best possible positions to succeed. And look, ever since the draft, we've heard so much about how this is like a perfect pairing. Bo Nix, Sean Payton, they're made for each other. So I think that the coach and the play calling is going to be there. But then after that, Nick, there's some question marks here for what's going to be helping him, starting with that offensive line. I mean, at the tackle spots, Garrett Bowles and Mike McGlinchey, they've got the ability and the potential to be outstanding guys, but I think both of those guys didn't perform up to their own expectations last year. They would even tell you that, but they do have the potential to be great. Inside, I think you're solid there with Quinn Miners. Ben Powers didn't have the great first year in Denver, but I think that he's capable of it. And then to me, the big question mark is at center. Obviously, Lloyd Cushenberry, the third, is no longer there. And I think that for a rookie, having like a veteran center, somebody who's going to be able to help with protections and just get everything in order pre-snap, that's going to be a big question mark, Nick. And I'm curious about your thoughts here. Having the skill guys around you, having a player that can just be there to bail you out. Hey, there's a guy in my face. I'm going to look at this guy because I know he's going to be open. Cortland Sutton can be that guy. He wins some of those jump balls. He can do that, but they don't have like that true number one elite offensive talent that's going to bail out Bo Nix on some plays.
No, they don't, and you're absolutely right. So here's what you do in this case, and luckily it's week one, and a lot of guys are healthy. No one's really banged up, so this would be an excellent opportunity for the Broncos to take advantage of this, because the guy who is going to get the one-on-one matchup and is going to be able to find that leaky coverage to help the quarterback out is the tight end. I mean, the tight ends are those guys who are going to be able to create space, just run 5 yards, turn around, flash your numbers, and just dump it down for a quarterback. And then if you start to do that and it's effective, you're going to start making those second-level players now start to bite on those plays. Now, all the in-breaking routes, the dig routes inside the hashes, inside the numbers, will be there so Bo can take advantage of it. But you have to kind of establish that you can do that and do it early. So with the noise probably being a problem, the Broncos offensive line will have moments where they're struggling. Now, you mentioned both tackles. You mentioned Mike McGlinchey and you mentioned Garrett Bowles. Garrett Bowles has definitely improved his technique and his consistency over the years. The concern is Mike McGlinchey. And once again, when you're playing on the road and we're talking about Seattle, it is so loud. So snap count, hard count, quick count, all of those things are going to be important. And you've been around the team, and they bring out the speakers and create that artificial noise. That is nothing in comparison to what you're going to hear on game day. So the biggest thing is what I want you to pay attention to when you watch the game on Sunday. How many false starts you have, right? How many holding penalties you have, because no matter how great Bo may be playing, and we've seen it to Zach Wilson in the preseason, drive killers, man. Drive killers. So that offensive line is going to have to be on point. And what you're going to see Quinn Miners tapping someone on their hip to let them know it is time to snap the ball. But this is where Mike McDonald, who was a defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens, now head coach, he's going to take advantage of it. He's a first-year head coach, and he wants to go out in the first home game and have a great showing against a rookie quarterback who has an offensive line that, even though they're highly paid, they haven't really played together cohesively in an atmosphere of this caliber. So you're going to see a lot of pressure packages from Mike McDonald on Sunday.
Oh, man, I was going to ask you about him just because you think about all those Baltimore defenses, fast, physical, big. And that kind of is the way that Seattle already liked to play under Pete Carroll. But you mentioned it. Coming in, first-year head coach, replacing Pete Carroll. He wants to leave his mark. It's his first game there in front of the home fans. Oh, man, he's going to dial up some pressure. And I hope that Bo's ready for this thing because, what you want to do is get those chains moving, get into a flow, get into the rhythm of the game. And if you're just going three and out, you're taking sacks. That's gonna kill you. The one thing that is fortunate for the Broncos offense is that Bo should be able to get rid of the ball a little bit faster than Russ did. I think that was something that you sort of lived and died with Russ, is that, hey, he's going to make some of those spectacular plays where he's dancing around, but he's also going to take some of those sacks that are going to kill your drives. Bo, it seems like maybe more his natural pace is 1, 2, 3, boom, it's out. But they're going to disguise some stuff. I mean, you tell me, Nick, what's the difference in the defensive packages from what Bo saw in the preseason to now it's some big boy football in the regular season?
Well, it's pressure packages. They may show pressure and then they may back out. And once again, understanding where the pressure is coming from. And going back to the center, people can say whatever they want to say about Lloyd Cushenberry. I thought Lloyd did a hell of a job in the circumstances that he was dealing with. So that center is going to have to be like the quarterback at the offensive line, call out where the blitzes are coming from. And not just call them out, be able to execute them at the same time. So the idea is you want to show Bo, hey, listen, we're playing zone here, but we're playing man. Or sometimes we're playing man, but we're going to drop into zone. So will he know going through his progressions, where's the identifying the best matchup? And my biggest thing for Bo, and he took a lot of criticism here in Denver by some in the media and some ex quarterbacks who were breaking down his film, saying that he wasn't staying with his reads long enough and he was being impatient. He was pulling the ball and running. I'm going to tell you this. I don't give a damn about that. If you go through your first and your second read and the guy's not open and something opens up where you can continue to change moving and put it in second and long, run the damn ball. Run
Yeah,
the damn
I mean
ball.
that's a skill set he has. He can do that. I mean, he's athletic. He can move. Let's use that as a weapon. I mean that's what the game is about nowadays, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that is what the game has evolved to because you don't have statuesque quarterbacks like Dan Marino or Boomer Esiason anymore. That guy at the quarterback position, if he can give you extra yards, it makes it difficult for you. Like, I'm not saying that Bo Nix needs to go out there and be Lamar Jackson. All you need to do is channel your inner Patrick Mahomes. If it's there, you take it. That's the smartest thing. And that's why it frustrates me when I hear critics and former quarterbacks say, no, I would have loved for him to stay in the pocket a little longer,
Yeah.
deliver the. No, 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 no. Did you get positive yards? At the end of the day, that's what it's about.
Just play football. That's all it
Yes.
takes. And if he channels his inner Patrick Mahomes, everything's going to be all right.